Hello everybody and welcome back again. My name is Steven and welcome back to the PBE patch rundown. So guys, you should know, this is the series where we cover everything that is done within the PBE patches. So today guys, I'm actually going to be covering the next part of the preseason patch. So as you guys should know, on the Monday, I believe, I can't remember which day I actually uploaded it now, Jesus. But yeah, it was Wednesday actually, sorry. I uploaded it, it was all about the AD carry and all that changes. So that was all pre-recorded and stuff, so that's why I think a lot of the information, well, it wasn't a lot, it was just like little nitty little grits were actually wrong actually. However, into today's video, I'm actually recording this a few days after the release on the first one. So this is actually Friday and you guys will be seeing this today actually. And this is all going to be covering the Masteries and keystones and stuff like that. So, as always, since this is a bit of a change and everything's changing and stuff, I want you guys to leave your feedback down below because I need to know what is wrong and all stuff like that. I've heard people saying that the audio volume is a bit low at the moment. So, in today's video, I'm actually buffing that up by quite a lot actually, so I need you guys to help me along with this so I can make sure that the content is perfect. It's going to take a little while to get used to all of these changes though, and make sure it's all set in stone, but please bear with me and help me along the way. Anyway, the keystone masteries and the masteries and all that did change for season 6, and boy is it awesome. So I've had a bit of testing out of this because the pre-season has been out for 2 days now. This is the 3rd day of the release. This is the Friday. Now I don't know exactly of what to build on every single champion just yet and what masteries you should be going, but I know a rough generalization on what we should be going for. So there's three trees: Ferocity, Cunning, and Resolve. So we're going to cover these very quickly because I know loads of people have covered this bunch of times, and I really do not want to start going into complete detail because, to be honest, I don't know these ones full into detail. Like, for example, Freak from Riot, he actually did a video covering all this, and if you want to go in a bit more detail of all of this and maybe what you should build for each champion, go check out his video. And there's a few other not champions, there's other people like Panzer Dragon, I think he's covered it. There's a few other people as well that's covered this, and they've all said it around what champions they play. Personally, I'm going to be covering about 80 carries, the one I'm going to set up for you. So, but first, what do these do? Well, let's start with Ferocity. So, with Ferocity, you have a choice out of 2. So, just before we actually talk about, it has a tier system. So, you put 5 points in 1, then 1 point, 5 points, 1 point, 5 points, 1 point. And that is how it is for every single tree. So unlike before where it was just a bunch of things and you can put your points into any one you want, there's now a cap what you can have in each one, which if I quickly go here is 18. 18 is the cap, and then you have 12 points to spend. You can put 12 into one tree or 6 in both of the other trees, but you cannot have more than 18. Also, so let's take this one for example. You can only have 5 points in the top one. You cannot have any more. Okay? So, that being said, let's actually cover what these are. So, first one. We have attack speed. So, Fury. So, you can have up to 4 attack speed in this one, which is actually really nice. Or, you can have up to 2% extra ability power. Or extra ability and spell damage, which is actually really nice. But, to be honest, that's more so if you're playing mage. This one's more so if you're playing like an AD carry or something like that. So the next thing up is Doubleedged Sword. So Doubleedged Sword is a old mastery. So some of these masteries are old, some of them are new, mainly the keystone masteries. But the Doubleedged Sword one is from the previous one that has a bit of a change to it. So now for melees it deals 3% extra damage. However, you take 1.5 extra damage, which is actually really good for melees, and I actually see melee champions taking this. However, for ranged champions, they take and deal extra 2% damage, which is not a very good trade. If you're trading a lot of damage for the same amount of damage back, it is not worth it. And to me, this is a mastery that you should never get on ranged champions. It's just simply not worth the risk. Because, one, if you're playing ranged, you're mainly playing either AD carry or you're playing a mage. And if you're taking this mastery on one of them two, you're a bit stupid because you're trying to stay alive in fights. You're not really that bothered about dying as much because you are the carry. So you need to not die. So taking this mastery, you're just going to kill yourself. So this is the situation on who you're playing. If you're playing melee, take it. If ranged, don't take it. But if you're ranged, you've got this one. Feast. Killing a unit restores 20 health, 20-second on a 20-second cooldown. This is actually a pretty nice one for AD carries and mages and stuff like that if you go down this route. So every time you kill something, you get your 20 health back, which is actually pretty nice in lane. It's not much, it doesn't help you out by a huge deal, but it is actually pretty nice, and it's something that you should go for if you're ranged. In the next set, we have Vampireism and Natural Talent. So Vampireism gives you up to 20% lifesteal, and not 20, 2% lifesteal and 2% spell vamp, which is actually really good. Because at the current state of the game, mainly if you're playing AD carries, you only have really one option of lifesteal, and that's the Bloodthirster. Because Bork at the moment is really bad for AD carries. It's not that useful as it used to be. And so taking this is very important if you're not going to be taking a lot of lifesteal, because of the fact you don't have much options to you, so you need to take this. The next one up is Natural Talent. This, at max rank, will give you 10 plus 10 attack damage and 15 ability power at level 18. You get 0.55 attack damage and 0.83 ability power per level. That is not really that much, to be honest, but if you're playing a duo type of champion that does AP and AD damage, this is kind of nice, but even then I'll still recommend taking the Vampirism over it because it's just a bit better. But just have a little test around. I just don't think it's worth it. I say go Vampirism all the way. The next one up. So this one's actually very dependent on what you are. You have Bounty Hunter, which you deal 1% increased damage for each unique champion you kill. Now, to be honest, this mastery seems so underwhelming because sometimes you don't kill every single person on the enemy team. You don't do that every single game. But that's only 5% if you do. 5% increased damage is really not a lot, especially compared to what you could get, which is the Oppressor. You deal 2.5 increased damage to targets with impaired movements. So that slows, stuns, snares, taunts, and much more. This mastery is so good. Now, you may be going, but isn't this situational? Well, think about it. Every single game of League nowadays has someone who can slow, stun, a snare, a taunt. You name it, they are in the game now. Every single game you play will have an option for you to actually get more increased damage out of this one than what you could in the other one. Now, I know the other one can get up to 5 if you can get all of it, but this one works at level 1. For example, if you're playing Jinx, all you have to do is get someone stuck in your snares, and instantly you're doing 2.5 extra damage to them. Now, normally in bot lane, there's only 2 people, so that's 2 kills. So that's only 2% for that one, averagely. This one, you're getting 0.5 extra without needing to kill them, which is a lot better. So, I personally take this one over that, but it's up to you. Next up is Battering Blows and Piercing Thoughts. So, Battling Blows at max rank gives you up to 7% armor penetration, which is very vital if you're playing an AD based champion. However, on the other side, you can have up to 7% magic penetration, which is obviously based on if you're an AP based champion. The only AD based champion that would take this is Corky, because he's actually the only one who's going to get benefit from this, because of the fact that his passive actually turns a lot of his damage into AP damage. So this is actually something I would go on him. But on average, if you're playing AD carry, I'll still recommend going for Battling Blows. Now here comes the big bits. So you have, first of all, Warlord's Bloodlust. Warlord's Bloodlust gives you critical strikes, heal you for 15% of the damage dealt, and grant you 20% attack speed for 4 seconds. This is on a 2-second cooldown. This mastery is so OP. Literally is so OP. It is so OP that they've already confirmed that they are nerfing this thing. Now, they're not nerfing it because of it being overpowered on any carries or stuff like that. They are nerfing it because of 2 champions, Yasuo and Tryndamere. Yasuo and Tryndamere can get so much out of this mastery. It is ridiculous. Yasuo, at 2 items, 100% crit chance. I think Tryndamere needs 3 items to get 100% crit chance, I believe. I'm not too sure. But either way, you can get up to 100% crit chance with those 2 champions very quickly. And that's 15% healing per crit. You've got 100% crit, meaning every single hit you're doing, you're getting 15% of the damage back as health. Plus the 20% attack speed, which is stupidly overpowered. On the other side is the Fever of Battle. Your basic attacks and spells grant you a stack of favor for 5 seconds, max at 10 stacks. Each stack of favor adds 1 to 8 bonus damage to your basic attacks against champions based on level. This, in my opinion, is so damn weak. It just doesn't feel that strong at all. Because you're only doing 1 to 8. That is not a lot of damage. 8 damage at, let's say, 20 minutes in the game is nothing. That is pointless. That's not going to help you win any fights, to be fully honest with you. Early game, yes, it can be a little bit useful, up to about 10 minutes maybe. But after that, it is useless. And over the time, the amount I've tested with this, the only champion I can see it working on is Callista, because Callista doesn't get any benefits from these 2. Because this one's if you're crit-based champion like, I don't know, Jinx or Lucian. This one's more so for champions like Corki, Ezreal, or Kog'Maw. No AD carry needs this other than Callista. Callista's the only one who can get anything out of this, because she doesn't get anything out of the other 2. And the final one is Deathfire's Touch. This is the one that you go for if you're a AP-based champion, or if you're Ezreal, Corki, or Kog'Maw. Because damaging abilities cause your enemy champions to take 6 plus 50% of your bonus attack damage and 20% of your AP power in magical damage over 3 seconds. Area effects and damage over time abilities apply half of the damage over 1.5 seconds instead. This for AP champions is bloody broken. Not as broken as of the Warlord's Bloodlust, but equally as strong. And if you're playing someone like Corki, this mastery is so damn strong on him, to near to the point where it's basically just as overpowered as Bloodlust. So next up, we have the Cunning tree. The Cunning tree is the supportive tree, basically, because Ferocity is the damage, Cunning's support, Resolve is the tankier side. Now, first of all, you have Wanderer. You can get up to 3% movement speed when out of combat. This is not that bad, but it's not that good, to be fully honest, either. Unless if you're support. Support can get very out of this, but that's practically it. Or you can go for Savagery. This is actually the mastery you want to go if you're playing mages or AD carries. It's only useful on. However, as I talk about what you should build on AD carries a bit later on, this is a bit iffy. Next up, you have Runic Affinity. Buffs obviously last longer, which is actually quite nice. And Secret Stash is the old biscuit. Mercenary can get up to 5% increased damage to champions below 40 health. This is actually not that good. It's decent, you know, it helps, but it's not brilliant. Loads of people think this is overpowered. It's not. Or you can go for Meditation. Once every 5 seconds, regenerate 1.5 of your missing mana. It's not bad, not great. It's just iffy. Still recommend Merciless over it, but it's up to you. Bandit, this is a must go if you're playing support. You gain 1 gold for each nearby minion killed by an allied champion, and gain additional 3 gold or 10 gold if you're melee by hitting the enemy champion with an attack or a spell. This cannot occur more than 5 seconds. Must have if you're playing support. Dangerous Game is the next thing. Champion kills and assists restore 5% of your missing health and mana. This is actually really nice for AD carries and mages, and even quite decent on things like junglers and tanks in the top lane. Next up is Precision. Gain 3 plus 0.3 per armor, per level armor and magic penetration. Not that great, to be fully honest. Not useful. Decent, but because you're going to be down this tree main of the time, you don't really normally see this being ever used. And then this one, this is the other go-to support option. Intelligence, your cooldown reduction cap is increased by 5%, and you gain 5% cooldown reduction. That is ridiculous. That means you can get up to 45 cooldown reduction, which is stupid. Next up is Stormbringer's Surge. Dealing 30% of a champion's maximum health within 2 seconds. Grants you up to 35% movement speed for 3 seconds. Not that great in my opinion. Not compared to some of these, but not bad. Next up is Thunderlord's Decree. Your third attack or spell on an enemy champion shocks the area around them, dealing 10% per level plus 20% of your bonus attack damage and 10% of your bonus AP power as magical damage to enemies in an area. This is very good. If you're a mage, you could go for this. Personally, I'll still say go for Deathfire's Touch over it, but it's still not bad. If you're an AP tank, then you could kind of go for this, but I still wouldn't recommend it. Unless if you're playing a AP based jungler, would be to me the only one who really get a full benefit out of this. And finally, Wind Speaker's Blessing. Again, a must-have on most supports. Your healing and shields are 10% stronger. Additionally, your shields and heals increase your target's resistance by 15% for 3 seconds used on an ally other than yourself. This on champions like Janna, Sona is overpowered. Because if you guys are playing the preseason right now, you will start noticing there's a lot more Sonas in your game because of this mastery. This mastery is a major buff to Sona. It allows her to do so much in teams now. And the final tree is Resolve. This is the tankier option. So first of all, you can have up to 2%, well, 2 health regen per 5 seconds. Not that great, not that bad. Or you can have up to 6% bonus armor and magic resist. This is a must-have on tanks. It's going to increase your armor and magic resist by quite a bit, actually. Not a lot, but decent amount. You can go for Explorer, which gives you up to 12% movement speed in brushes and rivers. This is mainly for junglers, to be fully honest. You can't really see anyone else getting much benefit from this other than supports. Or you can go Tough Skin. You take 2% less damage from champions and monsters' basic attacks. Again, that's not really that useful unless if you're in a lane. Junglers can get a bit of use out of this as well, so junglers have a bit of a toughie going between these two. I'll still say this one's a bit more better for most junglers, but unless if you're playing someone like Nidalee, maybe she gets a bit more out of Explorer. Then you have Runic Armor. You can get up to 8% bonus to all shields and healing on you. Includes health, lifesteal and regeneration. To me, this is a must-have on AD carries. I know loads of people like going in the Cunning tree at the moment for AD carries, but I personally think Runic Armor is a much better option because at the moment lifesteal is so hard to get. So getting the bonus lifesteal on the lifesteal items you can get is a must in my opinion. Or you can get Veteran Scars. You can get up to 4% total health, which is actually very good on tanks. Next up you have Insight. Your summoner spells have 15 reduced cooldown. This is again another must-have on most supports like Annie. Annie gets so much out of this summoner spell because she's very reliant on the whole flash Tibbers type of playstyle, and this is very useful for that. Or you can go Preserve. You get plus 50% health regeneration and increase to 200% when below 20 health. Again, this is a very useful thing, especially for like in lane things. Even junglers can get very much out of this. Then we have Swiftness. You get 15% tenacity and slow resist. This is great for tanks because they want to make sure that they are in the thick of the battle, and they don't want to be stuck in a certain position for too long. They want to be able to get out of that, get back into the punching line, and try to tank up as much damage as possible. Or you can go for Legendary Guardian, which seems a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, but you get 3 armor and magic resist for each nearby enemy champion. That means you can get that. To be honest, is not a lot. That's only 15 armor magic resist, which is quite pathetic in my opinion. Tal always takes Swiftness over it, but that's up to you. Next up, you have Grasp of the Undying. Every 4 seconds in combat, your next basic attack against an enemy champion steals life equal to 3% of your max health, half for ranged champions. This is actually really nice for tanks, but another one I'm going to talk about in a bit is better, but this one's still not that bad for tanks. Next up, you have the Strength of the Ages. Large monsters and siege minions that you or nearby allies kill grant you 20 and 10 permanent health, respectively, up to 300 max. After reaching the max bonus, further siege minions kills restore 100 health. This is very underwhelming because it doesn't seem that useful unless if you're playing jungle. Tanks, it can only be seen that useful, to be honest. I can definitely see junglers taking this one a bit more, since it does actually work with monsters as well, but still not that great. And the final one, which is so useful on tanks, even support tanks really need to get this mastery, is Bond of Stone. Plus 4% damage reduction, and while near an ally, this bonus is doubled to 8%, and 8% of the damage that they would take is dealt to you instead. You cannot go below 15% though. This is flipping fantastic. It may not be a lot, but it's still really, really good. So, that's the options you have. So, what if I was building this for AD carry? Well, personally, straight away, Fury. It's the best one for AD carries. Feast again. Because these two, you don't really get too much use out of the AD carries. This one's a bit iffy. But most AD carries would be going for Vampireism, just because straight away it's giving you lifesteal and you really want the lifesteal. Now, out of these two, again, Bounty Hunter's not that great. Oppressor, it's not really much of a change. All AD carries, by the way, will be getting these ones. This is the only time where AD carries will start changing. If you're playing most AD carries, you go for this one. If you're playing Corki, you go for this one. I'm playing every other AD carry because I'm building this for mainly like Jinx. I'll go for that one. Now, this one again is very base situational. You're playing every AD carry, you're playing Callista, or you're playing Ezreal, Corki, or Kog'Maw. I'm playing Jinx, so I'll go for that one. It's simple. Now, here's the thing that's a bit difficult. You can go for any of these trees. It doesn't matter which one you go for. It's more of a preference. Do you want to be a bit more durable in lane? Or do you want to be a bit more powerful? So, get this one. If you're going for this tree, you want to go for Savagery, Secret Stash, Mercenary, Dangerous Game. This is brilliant for most AD carries, and this one definitely helps out a lot because I go down this tree in my opinion, so I don't get this one. And this one, because I'm so used to having this from the old Masteries, it's so hard trying to get used to not having that bonus 5 damage, and it does actually affect me, it really does. So I'm still getting used to it, but I still think having Mercenary is a bit useless, and Secret Stash doesn't give you too much. Dangerous Game is not the greatest when I could have that one. But for me, and what I think is the better one, is I would go for Recovery, because you get more life regen, means you can heal more in lane. Then you have a tough out of this one. I'll go Tough Skin, because I'm not really going to be moving around in brushes and rivers too much, to be honest. Runic Armor, because I want the bonus lifesteal. And then I'll go for Perseverance, because I want to be able to survive. Cooldown on some of the spells is not really that useful, because I'm an AD carry. I'm not going to be burning Flash that much, to be fully honest, or heals and stuff. And to be honest, they don't 100% need it all the time. So this is the AD carry build I would go. In my opinion, I think this is the best one, but it's all down to you. You guys build how you want to build them. That is the overall point of this. So I don't need this, so I can just delete it. So there you go. You can actually just see I've just quickly just built that one again. See, these are some of the other ones. So at the moment, these are not set in stone. I do not know what the best options for all the AD carries or any champions at the moment. These are just what I think are good. And over the terms of about 4 or 5 months, we're going to start getting used to what ones are better, which ones we need for AD carries, which ones we need for tanks, which ones are best for this, what's best for that, and this and that. We're going to get over that over the course of the next few months. But as of right now, these are the ones I think are good. If you guys want to see all my runes that well, not runes, all the masteries I'm currently using, you can check them out on things like LOL King and all like that. You guys can go and check them out. But anyway, that ends today's video. Hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope I've given you a quick, nice rundown of these, what you guys think. And yeah, anyway guys, hope you've all enjoyed. And as always, do the normal YouTubey stuff, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, everyone. Bye!